Hello everyone, we are Group 2 of B41 Che 99 and this is our presentation of climate change. My name is Mao.
Kaiser, John, Gian, Chini, Mark, Rianto. Sobra. Oh, yeah, it's really hard.
Kung ngayon, wala masyadong init, pero nung mga ilang araw, malis din.
Siguro dahil tropical ka. Oo, tropical. Malapit sa equator.
Maybe I don't know why exactly, but every year it's getting hotter and hotter.
Dahil sa global warming.
Dahil wala na tayong mga puno sa natin, paligid natin, halos na ubos na. Pati yung kabundukan natin, wala na. Kaya wala tayong kaya kapabayaan din ng tao.
Yung pumoprotekta sa atin parang. Yun yung yun yung parang yung nangyayaring kunyari summer, di ba? Tapos umuulan. Global, parang ganun yung global warming, di ba?
Oh yeah, global warming. It's like, as I said, every year by year, the time passes by, the weather goes hot and hotter and hotter.
Mga plastic, huwag natin sunugin. Oo, nasunugin. Marami rin parang magtipid sa kuryente. Diba cool gamit nun?
Well, maybe we should stop using like aircon, because using aircon makes like it destroys the ozone layer. Maybe it is the main reason why there's a global warming.
Kulay ng mga halaman, ganyan.
Kailangan yung sila na magtanim ng puno na marami. Sige lang ang bawas wala ng puno. Marami na yung puno natin. Kahit kabundukan natin, wala na.
Sa palagay niyo po ba nakakatulong sa kapaligiran natin ang puno? Kasi po hindi po tulad ng mga tricycle, ang pwede ka po
Yung walang polusyon.
Opo.
Makakatulong talaga kasi walang polusyon. Hindi katulad ng mga sasakyan ngayon, sa daming lumalabas sa sasakyan, halos lahat puro may gasolina, kaya may usok.
Yun po yung nakakasama sa
Oo, nakakasama talaga. Dagdag yun sa init ng ating kapaligiran.
Global warming is the gradual increase of the temperature of the Earth's atmosphere and oceans. Over the past century, the average temperatures have gone up by just over 1 degree. This may not seem like much, but many scientists agree that the Earth's temperature are starting to increase at a faster rate. The warmest since the mid-1800s was the 1990s. The hottest years recorded were 1997, 1998, 2001, 2002, and 2003. Global warming occurs when greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, and methane trap heat inside the Earth's atmosphere. Think about what happens when you open your car door after the windows have been rolled up on a hot day. Heat from the sun enters the car, but the frame of the car prevents it from escaping. To a small extent, this is a representation of what happens during global warming. Burning fossil fuels like petroleum and deforestation both contribute to the problem. What effects does climate change have on the Earth and its inhabitants? Global warming has already started to affect the Earth in several ways. Arctic glaciers have begun to melt, threatening indigenous life such as polar bears. Melting glaciers also cause sea level to rise. This could become a problem for lowland areas. Ocean temperatures have begun to rise. This causes some of the algae to die, which can affect the entire food chain. There are ways we can combat the effects of global warming. The Clean Air Act of 1990 is a law in the United States that attempts to protect and improve the Earth's air and atmosphere. Some of the components of this law include limiting harmful vehicle emissions and phasing out the use of chemicals that can damage the ozone layer. On a more personal level, we can work to prevent global warming. First, plant a tree. This could be easier than it sounds. Join or help out a local wildlife group and ask to plant a tree. Trees, when fully grown, will help keep the planet cooler. On the same point, you could protest against the demolition of rainforests. This is the same principle. We need trees to cool our planet, and yet they are chopping them down to create roads or homes. Something as simple as walking instead of taking the car will help reduce pollution. As well as stopping pollution, you are giving yourself exercise, something important for our bodies, right? So the next time you get into your car or motorbike, think, do I have to make this journey by vehicle or can I walk? If possible, buy your fruit and vegetables from local suppliers and try to avoid imported goods. The more foreign food that we import, the more pollution from the aeroplanes and boats will create. Keeping to the speed limit can also help the environment. The more you speed, the more petrol you're going to use, making pollution higher. Also, SUVs make about 6 times their own weight of carbon dioxide each year. A small efficient diesel car covering the same distance not only uses much less fuel, it makes 2/3 less. If possible, use solar energy. After all, it's free. All you need to buy is the equipment. You can get much of your hot water and heating from the sun, even generate electricity. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. Only buy what you need. Don't stock the cupboards with the things you may or may not use. Reuse whatever you can, like containers and papers, and recycle what you cannot reuse. It is really simple as that. Finally, turning off unused sources of power such as televisions and heaters will help the environment as well as you save your money. If everybody stuck to these rules, we would be doing a great thing by protecting the earth. So please try to do your part. After all, it will be our next generation that will feel the effects.
Yung dating ang global warming na sinasabi nila, some of the so-called experts na sinasabi nila, they even claim na it's a majority ng scientists in the world believe climate change is the responsibility of human beings. Okay, I'm not one of those, obviously. Kung bibigyan ko ng rough estimate yung kung gaano karami yung naniniwala diyan, gaano karami yung hindi na taong responsible doon, I would say about 50-50. But scientists of the UN will probably say otherwise. They will say, okay, it's almost unanimous, 99% or something like that. And then there's only a few deniers like people like me. Okay, so yun nga. But again, that's not to say that we shouldn't be concerned with pollution and emissions. It's still a concern because we should all be able to breathe clean water, clean air, and then drink clean water. Okay, pag sinabi mong emissions from cars, from emissions from power plants, we should really think about that. Kasi ayaw din natin madumi yung hingay natin katulad mga sa China, di ba? Hindi na makain mga tao.
Yes, sir.
We really should clean the air or try to keep clean processes if we need to do that. Kaya kung masyado ng maraming mga soot, tsaka kung nagiging acidic na yung air dahil sa emissions, then we need to control those emissions. Okay, up to that point. But again, still, it has nothing to do in my mind with climate change. Part of the reason I don't believe na climate change is man-driven or driven by the activities of man since the start of the industrial era. Yung sinasabi lang the start of the industrial era is when we started getting into steam locomotives. Sa US kasi it's a big continent. From the west coast to the east coast, something 2,500 miles. In the old days, panahon ng mga cowboy, the way they transported goods to be able to civilize the different states all the way. Kasi nagsimula ang America sa east coast, New York, New Jersey, yung area na yun. And then it expanded towards the west, towards California. Now that's 2,500 miles. And the way they transported goods, you know, like the skin of the animals and stuff like that, and food, they would use trains. So ang unang heavy industrialization of America was with the burning of coal. And then, dun sa power plants nila, they had to generate steam to generate power. They were burning coal, and then they started getting into oil. And discovered yung oil sa Texas, you know, then started burning oil. So, yun ang industrial era. Okay, that was in the early 1900s, yung mga panahon ni Jose Rizal. Okay, before, yung panahon ni Jose Rizal, actually makandila pa, di ba? So, after that, early 1900s. Ngayon, so we're talking about human activity from that time to something like 2000s. Okay, and kaya nga hindi ako makapaniwala kasi pag tiningnan mo yung limbawa yung electromagnetic radiation absorptivity at saka emissivity ng carbon dioxide, which is the primary compound that people who believe in man's responsibility for climate change, they're blaming CO2. Okay? Sabihin nila, okay, wag na tayong mag-produce ng mga power plant to burn fossil fuel. Let's just go to renewable entirely, which is very spread and very dispersed. Very hard to do. Ang burning ng fossil fuel, nag-increase lang yung parts per million pinag-usapan dito. Something like 100 parts per million, 50 parts per million, to say 200 parts per million. During the time na nag-govern tayo ng fossil fuel, way back, the entire 1900s. So we're talking, ganun change ng CO2 levels sa atmosphere. Pag tinignan mo yung electromagnetic radiation ng contribution ng CO2, marirealize mo it's almost the same as H2O. And then when you increase it from 100 parts per million to 200 parts per million, pag tinignan mo yung emissivity chart, makikita mo na yung emissivity ng gas, hindi mo mababasa yung difference. Kung ang pinag-uusapan natin ay 100 parts per million ang pinagbago. Because we're talking 10 to the minus 6. Ngayon, the other thing that the people are finding out now, na hindi masamang tumaas ng konti yung CO2 sa atmosphere kasi nga hindi naman ganun ka-sensitive yung atmosphere ng Earth. God did not give us this world para konting pababago lang ng CO2, mamamatay na tayong lahat. It is not designed that way. Because I believe in creative, intelligent design for the universe. It wasn't designed that way na magbago na ng konti yung CO2, matidiscuss yun. No. Actually, nadi-discover nila by satellite images and everything. Nagiging green yung mga edges ng desert dahil tumataas ang CO2 ng konti. Pero konti lang. So yung mga dating hindi tinutubuan ng halaman, nagkakaroon ng halaman. So people are saying now, it could take in the forest. Actually, mas maganda sa mga forest yung medyo maganda. Kasi CO2, hindi naman, pag binlay mo ang CO2 na man-made na climate change culpable, sabi mo masama yung CO2, but that's not true. It's not proven na masama ang CO2 to a certain point. Okay? And malayo pa tayo dun sa point na yun. Kasi ang CO2 ang hinihinga ng halaman. It's really political kung sabihin mo lang na CO2 masama. Okay? Kaya tataksan ko yung gamit mo ng gasolina. Totoo rin na mayroong mga aksyon aksaya, di ba? Siyempre ayaw natin yun. You know? But we're talking about extremes. So, I am a very skeptic person about climate change being blamed on human beings. Pag tinignan mo yung model ng climate change, critic mo yung, hindi criticize, critic. Talagang pag-aaralan mo yung detail ng model ng climate change. Yung CO2 level, calculation, tsaka yung solar radiation, yung heat transfer. Pag tinignan mo yun, yung model na very inadequate. You know, and I've been doing modeling all my life. Simulation ng stress, simulation ng thermodynamics. I've been doing that all my life. So, rocket line, I spent 25 years doing that. So, pag tinignan mo yung mga models na, madali mong sasabi na, ba't mali yung model nila, kulang. Tapos yung data ang pinapasok nilang dinoktor pa nila. So yun ang pinaka-main objection doon. Basta clean burning ang mga power plants. Tsaka pag pinag-aralan mo yung pulverization ng coal at saka yung mga pulverized coal combustion ngayon, makikita mo talagang highly developed na yung technology. We can really control the process now na hindi masyadong mataas ang pollution. So yeah, pollution, we have to control that, but we're not to that point na sasabihin mo gano'n na katulad ng China. No, we're not. I don't think we're responsible na yung sa climate change. Marami tayong out of control, beyond our control. Diba? Hindi tayo na prepared, yung ating infrastructure hindi prepared para i-tackle yung mga ganun. Pero talagang dadaan yung lalakas yung mga bagyo, lihina yung mga bagyo throughout the years. Magbabago yung panahon.
So bali, dahil po sa poor design, kaya po
Yeah, ayaw natin aminin na tayo may deficiency. Sasabihin natin yung climate. How can you control the climate? You can only control it to a certain point. You control your activities.
Stop burning garbages because the smoke consists of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases.
In order to stop global warming, we should support anti-deforestation campaigns and plant trees instead.
Reduce, reuse, recycle. Buy eco-friendly products and reuse plastic containers to help in reducing waste in landfills.
Replace or upgrade air conditioning systems and refrigerators once they've reached their expected lifespans.
Let's minimize the use of gas-emitting vehicles, especially when our destination is near.
Utilization of clean and renewable energy.
And the most important thing to remember is to discipline ourselves to preserve the environment. As it was said by Engineer Principe, CO2 is not that bad for the environment, but this does not give us the permission to abuse our use of CO2 materials and equipment. We should limit our use to preserve a better environment and to provide a healthier place to live in.